Hello, I'm Pastor Jeff from the Lutheran Church here in Marion, and we are working through the Gospel of Luke and Acts of the Apostles as part of our Lenten discipline. So today is Friday, March the 5th. We are in Luke 18 and 19. So again, a long reading today, 2 chapters, and it's taking us right to Palm Sunday. So we are rapidly approaching the end of Luke's Gospel. But there's some very interesting things that are happening in these 2 chapters. The first one I just want to kind of pay attention to is this conversation with the rich ruler. And we've seen this conversation in the other Gospels, but basically there's this rich ruler and he wants to know, what it is he should do, and he correctly identifies the commandments, right? Really the commandments can be summed up to love God and to love your neighbor, love each other. And then Jesus does what? He says, you're right, this is great. Now act on it. Now actually love your neighbor. Put this into practice. In this rich ruler's circumstance, sell everything you have and come and follow me. And of course, he goes away sad. Then there's this conversation about, how difficult it's going to be for someone who's rich to get into heaven. And that famous saying about the camel through the eye of the needle, this has tried to have been explained in many different ways. I think it's as literal as Jesus says it. It's impossible. But here's the thing, it's not just for the rich, it's impossible for any of us to put ourselves right with God. And that's going to get played out as Luke 18 and 19 continues onward. Well, we get to the story at the end of 18 about the blind man. He's in Jericho. And Jesus asks, he's a blind beggar, and Jesus asks him a fairly strange question in verse 41. What do you want me to do for you? And at first we kind of go, well, the man's blind and he's a blind beggar. It's kind of obvious, isn't it? But I don't think that answer to that question is so obvious, because I think Jesus is asking us that question as well. Just like with the rich ruler, what do you want me to do for you? For that rich ruler, do you really want to put your faith into action? What do you want me to do for you? And here I think the blind man is symbolically representative of all of us. We need our eyes opened. We need to be able to see clearly who we are and what God's called us to be. And did you notice what the blind man's immediate response was in verse 43? Immediately he regained his sight and followed him, followed Jesus. The goal is to have our eyes opened to the reality of the kingdom of God and to follow Jesus. Well, then we get one of my favorite stories. Here in Jericho, we get the story of Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus is rich. He's a tax collector. He's no good. He's a chief tax collector. And Jesus seeks him out. Jesus goes to the tree in which Zacchaeus has climbed. Jesus tells Zacchaeus, I'm coming to your house tonight. He invites himself over. Jesus initiates a salvific encounter, a holy conversation. And because of this, Jesus says what? Salvation has come to his house. Zacchaeus is very rich. Remember right before? Then who can be saved? How can a rich person be saved? Easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle. Well, Zacchaeus is a rich person, and salvation has come to him. Why? Because God has initiated the conversation in Jesus Christ. That's the good news that we proclaim. God comes to us, and God will not finish until he demonstrates his love for us on the cross. God bless you.